Now, it is true the unions are whining about Obamacare. So I must admit I'm a little confused. Betsy McCoy, in her piece, says that the union health care plans are grandfathered and they're going to be able to keep their doctor, for example, are going to be able to keep their plan, for example, because they were grandfathered. Here again, the law, and this is from her piece in the Daily Caller today. Section 1251 of the Affordable Care Act says that no one can be required to give up a plan in effect on March 23rd, 2010. But basically, this applied to everybody. You remember, we mentioned this to you the other day, that the only reason you can't keep your plans is because Obama's playing dictator. Obama arbitrarily, he was out lying through his teeth, knowing full, he doesn't care, folks. Everybody wonders, does he know? He doesn't care. This is all minutia. Whatever it takes to get where you're going, doesn't matter how you get there, doesn't matter whether you lie. Remember, these people in their minds are pursuing a higher moral cause. Therefore, anything's permitted, lying, cheating, stealing, whatever, because they're trying to defeat us, and that is a moral imperative to them. So there's no such thing as lying. That's just whatever it takes is permissible. So, again, according to the law, Section 1251 of the Affordable Care Act says no one can be required to give up a plan in effect on March 23rd, 2010, when the law was passed. Those plans are grandfathered, but following that guarantee this is not the law, this is Betsy McCoy writing, but following that guarantee is a list of costly requirements that made it difficult for insurers to keep offering your plan. And it gets worse, she says. Union plans were grandfathered with none of the fine print tricks and exceptions that Obama then imposed on the insurance companies. So Obamacare itself, you can look at this as a violated contract if you want. I mean, it's a statutory law, but in the law it says you can't. If you like your policy, the day this thing signed into law, it can't be taken away from you. You're grandfathered. But Obamacare mandates on the insurance companies made it impossible for them to continue to provide your plan as you like it. And this is why Valerie Jarrett and the people are out there saying, we didn't change your plan. The insurance companies did it. It's just more disingenuousness, more lying, because it is their law that made the insurance companies they had to comply with the law, and those compliances are what blew up your plan being in compliance, whether it's grandfathered or not. So her point is that the unions have a carve-out, and she quotes a section of the law from, part of the law from Section 1251. I'm not going to read it to you, it's legalese. But it goes on to say that no subsequent mandates can make the unions change their plans, unlike the rest of us. So just to clarify, the regime claims that most plans will be grandfathered in, but it isn't true because the insurance companies tweak their plans all the time. And remember, this is so frustrating. I'm sorry, folks. I mean, I remember so many things and my mind is exploding here. Do you remember when we were talking about this 3 years ago? And we're talking about the tweaks. And all the insurance company would have to do would be to raise your premium a penny, and it constituted a change that would destroy your grandfather's status. Your plan had to stay what it was after Obamacare was signed in order for you to keep your plan. And all the insurance companies had to do was cancel somebody in your plan. It didn't take much to change it, and that destroyed the grandfather status. Well, the Obamacare law itself mandated that insurance companies change their plans, whether they wanted to or not, and that destroyed the grandfather status for you. But that is not the case, according to Betsy McCoy, for the union plans. They can be changed and will not lose their grandfather status. And here's how she explains it. The law also left open the possibility that the president could impose additional requirements on grandfathered plans except union plans. 2 months after Obamacare was passed, the IRS, the Department of Labor, Department of Health and Human Services, all reporting to the president, churned out hundreds of additional rules to make it harder for grandfathered plans to survive. Now, the real point of this, Obama never intended for you to keep your plan. If you could keep your plan, there would be no reason for Obamacare, and there would be no further progress toward single payer. It was just something to lie to you about to get your vote in the 2012 election and to get your support. It was an out-and-out lie, folks. There's no other way. And you could look at it as a broken contract or however you want to look at it. But if there's no pushback from anybody, if nobody's going to do anything about it, he's going to get away with it like he does everything. The law left open the possibility the president could impose additional requirements on grandfathered plans except union plans. And 2 months after this law was passed in 2010, the IRS, Department of Labor, Health and Human Services, all reporting to the president, dutifully churned out additional rules and regulations that made it harder for the grandfathered plans to survive. I cannot emphasize enough to you that this was the design. Despite the fact the president told you, everybody's playing these sound bites, the president saying all these different times, you like your plan, you get to keep it. He never intended that, folks. If everybody in the country liked their plan and got to keep it, then there was no need for Obamacare, right? There was no need for any of this. It was satisfaction. You keeping your plan, not good. No way that Obama, the Democrats, can advance their agenda if you get to keep your plan. So, while the law said you would be grandfathered, the insurance companies were forced to make changes which destroyed your grandfather status. So, in other words, insurance plans have all kinds of things dumped on them by the government, apart from the Obamacare mandates, and these make them have to adjust their plans, like raise their rates. So eventually all the plans will lose their grandfather status. Every damn one of them. There isn't anybody that's going to be able to keep their plan, apparently, except unions. Their plans can be tweaked without losing their grandfather status. According to Betsy McCoy, Obamacare can't compete with these supposedly bad old plans. It can't. Obamacare cannot offer something better, as you're learning. What is Obamacare proving to you? Your rates go up. Your deductible goes up. Obamacare cannot match what you had. And therefore, you were not going to be allowed to keep it from the get-go. You were just lied to. So he had to make sure those old plans wouldn't survive for long. And now his regime is out dumping on the insurance companies. And that's what Sebelius has been doing all day, dumping on the insurance companies. And what can they do about it? They got hoodwinked. I'll never understand it. Into supporting this cockamamie BS from the get-go, under the premise they bought the notion they're going to get all these brand new customers. I'm telling folks, I don't know how to describe this other than we are just surrounded by rank stupidity that is encouraged by the lure of massive amounts of money. So that still doesn't eliminate the fact that the unions are still whining about it, and I don't know why. It is curious. I'm assuming that Betsy McCoy is right here in what she has written. But even if she is, doesn't eliminate the fact the unions are still complaining and whining about something. And maybe they don't know yet, or maybe they didn't know when they were whining that they were grandfathered and they were going to keep their grandfather status.